Welcome to CS Week Success Stories, Second Tuesday webinar series. Before we begin, please answer the polling question in the panel on your screen. The CS Week Success Stories series are the top-rated workshops from our attendees for Conference 40 held in April in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Lisa Collins with CS Week, your moderator today, and Denise Muldor is our host. We invite you to attend CS Week in Conference 41 at the Fort Worth Convention Center in Fort Worth, Texas, next May 22nd through the 26th. Registration will open later this fall. This program will be recorded and available for playback along with our other archived presentations. You will find them under the Webinars tab on our website, csweek.org. Attendees are encouraged to upload questions in the Q&A panel on the lower right of your screen. Be sure to click the All tab to make sure that I will see your question as well. And we will hold these questions until the end of the presentation, where at that time we will have the Q&A segment. Today's program, Are You Considering Live Chat?, will be presented by Cindy Dossett and Vicki Dickerson. Cindy Dossett is Vectren's Performance Assurance Manager in the Contact Center. She has been with Vectren for 8 years and is responsible for managing contact center support activities, including workforce management, call volume forecasting and analysis, KPI reporting, and external vendor contracts and relationships, including 2 outsourced call centers. Prior to joining Vectren, Cindy spent 20 years in the financial services industry in various contact center roles, including managing multiple sites, startup operations, multi-client centers, and technology and process-related improvements. Cindy is a graduate of the University of Evansville and serves on the CS Week Planning Committee. Vicki Dickerson has 37 years of experience with Oncor and is currently Senior Business Analyst providing oversight, leadership, and guidance of daily operations in the customer care operations activities for 2 contact care centers through an outsourced business process service provider in Texas. She is responsible for providing subject matter expertise for training, operation support, and process improvement efforts. Ms. Dickerson is a graduate of Dallas Baptist University with a bachelor's in communications. Welcome, Cindy and Vicki, and we'll turn it over to you now.
Great. Thank you, Denise. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for participating. I'm going to share a little bit of our approach that we've had in deploying web chat, our successes, and some of the lessons learned in the next 20 minutes. And typically this is about an hour presentation, so I'm going to move through it pretty quickly. So please make sure you have questions ready at the end. With that, we're just going to jump right in. Okay, Vectren at a glance. I'm going to walk through these slides very quickly. First of all, we're headquartered in Evansville. We're a Fortune 1000 company. We have approximately 5,600 employees, and we're a combination gas and electric company. Our gas footprint, we have about 1 million customers in the Ohio and Indiana area. And our electric footprint is much smaller. We only have about 144,000, primarily in the Evansville or southern Indiana region. Now that we have all the fun stuff over, we'll get right into the chat. Why chat? Well, we really didn't have a need for a business case because we had buy-in from the top down. We were looking for an additional method to enhance our customers' experience and another method for them to contact us. So it seemed like web chat would be a typical next move for us. We also hoped the process would increase web utilization and our self-service options. Some of the history surrounding our project. We started this project back in 2011. We put together a core team to explore the idea of adding the chat option to our Vectren.com. We had individuals from different areas within the contact center. We had an agent, we had a supervisor, a team lead, and we had some technology individuals on the team as well, because we really needed to learn what we didn't know. Back in 2011, web chat really was not a familiar product in the utility industry, so we were having a difficult time finding information in reference to that. But some of the things that we started to consider with this project were recruiting and staffing. What type of skills were we looking for? Would the agents be internal or hired externally? Hours of operations. What hours would we offer chat? Would we offer at the same time as the contact center, which was 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, or would we move to something 24/7? Metrics. How and what do we measure? You know, is it parallel to a phone call? Again, there was very little industry information available for us on this topic. Chat survey. Did we want to offer a survey at the end of the chat so we could find out, get feedback from our customers on how, if they liked the chat process? Vendor software. We really didn't put together a formal RFP to look for a vendor software, but we did a lot of research out in the industry. We also even got out on other companies' websites and tried out chat to get the look and feel of what it would look like to our customers. What type of inquiries would we expect to receive through chat? You know, would it be similar to email? Did we need to develop templates to make it easier for the agents to reply and to make sure we had a consistent experience for our customers? Simultaneous chats. How many chats could an agent handle at one time? We really found that that depended upon the industry and level of difficulty. For instance, if you were just taking incoming orders, you could probably handle multiple chats, while with the utility, for instance, a move-in inquiry typically takes a lot longer, so you wouldn't want to handle 3 or 4 inquiries at the same time. And lastly, what kind of protection would we offer our customers? Currently, we go through a validation or verification process, and how do we protect that sensitive information when we have a customer come through on chat? So those were all the things that we really had to consider before implementing chat. A few other things we considered with our web chat launch is the icon placement. And it was really funny because you see these pictures of individuals out on web chat, and you think, well, okay, is that really an employee, or is that just a template that's provided to you by the software company? We took a long time to determine what we wanted to place on our chat page, and we actually chose one of the internal employees that was on the web chat committee. So it was kind of fun. The agents thought that was great fun. So when you reach out and look at our web chat icon on Vectren.com, you'll see Brittany, who was the contact center team lead at the time. So we did decide to do a soft launch. On February 12th of 2013, we put it out there on our Contact Us page on Vectren.com. We didn't announce it anywhere. We didn't advertise it. We just simply put it out there. We really didn't know what to expect, given that there were no industry statistics or anything like that. So we staffed it with 3 agents all time, and we opened it up from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., just some basic business hours, so that we could measure what kind of traffic we would see through that. Well, I'm happy to announce that for the first day we opened it up, we had 39 chats came in immediately throughout the day, with an average handle time of 9 minutes and 17 seconds. So we thought that was pretty successful, not advertising it anywhere and getting 39 people to chat with us. Well, a few months later, in June 2013, our website was redesigned, and we added additional links in the residential and business menus to add visibility quickly to our customers, which, as you'll see on my next slide. The QA process, we determined that that would be the same as a phone call. So we were measuring the same types of interactions, and the only difference is that we are measuring grammar and typing skills a little bit more than a verbal call. So we felt like our web chat launch was pretty successful on February 12th of 2013. Now this next slide shows you how our call volumes, have increased throughout the years. If you look at the blue graphs in February 2013, you can see it gradually increasing all the way up to June. And June is where we put the icon on several other pages on Vectren.com. You can see a steady climb with the blue throughout 2013. And then when you get into 2014, it really stabilized in 2015. We've seen a pretty stable volume in the range of about 4,300 chats per month. The average handle time remains in the 9-minute and 24-second period of time, and it's really the result of the contact types, which the next slide will show you some of our contact types. Why are our customers chatting? Well, these are the top 5 chat reasons that customers are contacting us. The first one, representing 27%, is account balance, which we found pretty ironic. The second one is turn-on, turn-off service with 17%. This chat type is a very long call, and it is also a very long chat type. So by doing 2 chats at one time, we're kind of offsetting the one call. Premise questions are coming in about 10%, and website inquiries 8%, and payment arrangements 6%. It was interesting to note that the RMP-DMP process didn't even make the top 5. It was much lower at about 2%. We opted with our implementation to put a survey on the end. We really wanted to find out how our customers liked the web chat, or if there was something that we could do to improve the process. So we put 3 questions right at the end of the interaction, and our average take rate was 56%, which for those of you that have conducted surveys, 56% is a very high take rate. And the 3 questions you can see on here: Vectren's live chat feature was easy to use. Vectren's live chat feature allowed me to resolve my inquiry. What hours would you use web chat? Since we implemented it from 7 to 5, we really wanted to know if our customers felt like that was the right time for them to contact us. And it's interesting because in April of 2016, we did change our hours to match the contact center hours of 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., and that was due to feedback from our customers. Here's a slide that shows you some of the feedback that we received. There's also a place on our chat, on our survey, to allow the customer to give us some free-form comments, and you can see some of these. I don't believe I'll ever have to call in again. It was so easy using web chat. I will use web chat anytime I need assistance. Fantastic, so helpful. I have a busy day and you guys were so helpful. I find live chat extremely helpful and a lot faster than the phones. What we're hearing from our customers is that they really like to do the multitasking. Perhaps they're at work or they're in a location where they're not able to get on the phone, and they can chat with us to get their business taken care of. One of the things that really surprised us, although this was a goal of ours initially, was to increase self-service. Well, one thing that we do have is we do offer value-added services to our customers, such as e-bill enrollment, and we were very surprised that because this is the demographic that is using the internet to interact with us, e-bill would be, a very typical offering to them. And we were very successful in enrolling 55% of the people that we asked to sign up for e-bill versus only a 45% decline rate, which, as those of you in the utility service know, this helps save money on printing bills. We're also very successful in getting customers registered on Vectren.com. This number was 87% of the individuals that we asked through web chat to sign up through Vectren.com. We were able to get them registered. So these were a couple of very surprise benefits of web chat. Okay, into some of the lessons learned. Technology improvements. We quickly realized that our agents needed 3 monitors versus 2. We actually have the chat on the middle screen and our CIS systems on the other 2 screens so that the agents can handle 2 interactions at one time. We also learned that PCs were required versus thin clients. And part of that reason was the sound capability so that our agents could be notified of a chat. Efficiency, the need to continue to build scripted content library. You know, we needed to have version control on our templates. Our handle time was high, so we needed to be able to handle 2 chats at a time, and by having templates out there, it was very easy for the agents to pull those into the chat. KPIs, again, not much data available on web chat in the utility industry. We currently measure service level, you know, the percentage of chats answered within 30 seconds. We also monitor average handle time and wrap time, very similar to a phone conversation. Some of the secondary KPIs, QA, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. We do the same quality measurement as we measure a phone call, except for we look for proper written grammar, correct spelling, and that sort of thing. FCR, one thing that we have found with this is that FCR has improved. We're finding that our customers do enjoy chatting with us, and they're able to get their inquiry resolved on the first web chat. Again, another bonus for us. Currently, our agents are not blended with calls. We do have them blended with email. So an agent, a web chat or off-phone agent could receive a web chat or an email depending upon the priority level that we have assigned that through our system. We have found that it's not easy for them to jump back and forth between a web or an email and a phone call, so we have remained at the off-phone type transactions. Some of our future web chat growth, you know, back then it was continue to look at the hours offered, and we did just expand that. Click to chat is another thing that we are considering, and proactive chat. Currently, we do not go out and proactively offer chat to our customers, as you may have seen if you're out chatting on other websites. We're also continuing to advertise it on the website, news releases, bill messages, inserts, and newsletters. Okay, I made it at 1 minute and 19 seconds. I hope that you received some valuable information here. If not, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on here. Let me see if I can get this. Nope, sorry, it's not on there. They took it off. It's cdossett@vectren.com in the event that you do have any questions. And I appreciate everyone's attention this afternoon, and I'm going to turn it over to Vicki.
Thank you, Cindy. I am Vicki Dickerson, and I, along with Cindy, are glad to be here to talk about a very popular subject, multi-channel communications. I will be sharing this presentation, which Pam Wheat presented at CS Week in Phoenix, and for those of you that know Pam, she recently retired from Oncor after 40 years of service, so we're already missing her dearly. We're going to talk about meeting the demands of customers by offering multi-contact channels, and I think we'd all agree that customers are expecting more from the companies that they do business with, even their utilities. I read an interesting article, I guess you'd say, just the other day that talked about the age group of 20 to 29 and the fact that they use their smartphone, you know, almost 100% of the time to conduct all of their internet activity, and more they're growing and doing more of their business online, either buying or their banking, and, you know, also we wanted to be there as well to offer that option, you know, for the utility. Just to give you a little bit of background on Oncor, I'll kind of quickly go through these slides, but we are the largest transmission and distribution utility in Texas, serving more than 10 million Texans, and most notably, we are in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but you can see from the blue area on this map how diverse our service territory is. And that actually equals a very diverse customer population as well. What's interesting to note here is that 1/2 of our customers are actually in the metropolitan area, and the other half are dispersed across the rest of the service territory. This slide really speaks to the crazy market that we participate in. Oncor is a regulated electric utility. We don't make or sell power, we just deliver it to homes and businesses in our service territory footprint. Generation is competitive, as well as the retail electric providers who are competing in the market. There are currently over 115 active retailers, varying in size and approach. And as a delivery company, we do not set up new service, disconnect service, handle collections or credit calls. We're mainly taking service requests and outage calls, along with a variety of questions from our retail electric providers. Our contact center is an outsourced business process, has been since 2004 and continues today. We have 2 contact centers in Texas along with home workers, and you can see here just some of the stats from 2015. Our agents, our outsourcers handled 1.4 million agent calls and right at 1 million pieces of e-business or non-voice transactions. And in 2011, we implemented chat with our retailers, and in 2015, we added it to our Ask Oncor webpage so that we could chat with end-use customers. Customer experience is a very high focus for Oncor, and through transparency, predictability, and consistency, we wanted to establish our vision to be the customer's trusted advisor. And with that effort, we've named a Chief Customer Officer, we've organized a Customer Experience Council, and our goal is to really meet customers where they want to be. Communication channels are complicated, so we made it our mission to develop a multi-channel strategy so that we could communicate with customers in the way that they desire. So we're not trying to drive our customers to the cheapest channel, but rather customer choice. So with that, you can see here our multi-channel strategy, or I call it our customer experience wheel. And it's kind of a great visual to see what all the initiatives that we've been putting in place to reach our goal. Again, customers are more engaged than ever before. Customers want to be communicated with the method they prefer, whether it be face-to-face, by phone, email, text messaging, or even through social media, which is actually a space that we're really seeing a lot of activity in, especially when we have outage and storms in the area. We really see a peak in that social media space. Our strategy has always been to listen, learn, and implement. So we're going to just focus a little bit, again, on chat over the next few slides, and we kind of wanted to share our chat journey, as Cindy did as well. Chat was actually the first technology that we rolled out in the wheel in the previous slide. We initially chose our retail electric providers, and because there were expected benefits that we had heard about. Besides improving customer satisfaction, which we had, had some negative comments and things on our annual surveys that we conduct every year with that segment, with our retailers. So we wanted to improve customer satisfaction, and we hope to gain efficiencies with both the retailers and our agents with the ability to multitask while chatting. We also had a secure retailer information web portal, which provided us actually the ability to implement it in a controlled segment with our B2B customers. So while we actually thought it might reduce call volume, we did quickly learn that that has not been the case, but we have seen quite an increase in customer satisfaction with that group. So our roadmap included utilizing our e-business or our offline back office group to maximize efficiencies by providing the ability for those agents to multitask. They don't actually take a customer call, so they're working emails, faxes, and other pieces of work. So it made it easy for them to actually multitask and take multiple chats at once. Right now, currently, they're right at about 2 chats per agent. We began the live chat with our end-use customers via our Ask Oncor web page in November of 15, and then launched a mobile-friendly version in February of this year. So what we did was initially we surveyed our retailers to determine their interest, and we actually have annual retailer workshops, so this made it easy to even have some conversation with them face-to-face. But when we did that, we learned very quickly that 90% of them were very interested in chatting. And again, if you recall, I mentioned, you know, our strategy was to listen, learn, and implement. So we got a lot of great feedback from them. Now, the tool selection was very easy for us because right now is an off-the-shelf email management tool that Oncor has actually used for some time. And so it was a clear choice from a business perspective. The chat functionality actually met all of our necessary requirements straight out of the box. It had very minimal special configuration that we had to do. And it made sense from an ease of implementation and really provided a significant reduction to the learning curve for our agents. Agents were already familiar with the look and feel of the screen layout, the toolbar, and the whole approach to what's called incident management, if any of y'all are familiar with it right now. Implementation, our arching goal was really to select the right group to support chat. So we wanted to ensure that the users would receive a seamless experience. So we worked with our business SMEs to document processes and escalation paths. And we began developing a survey strategy because we knew it was important that we continue evolving the program and ensuring that we were meeting our customers' expectations. With retailers, our communication strategy was really important to the key to our success. So we needed to set those expectations with our retailers on what we would and would not be able to chat about, so as to not circumvent the market rules, because in our deregulated market, some of the things the retailers must actually go through different routes to provide us some of the information and questions that they need answered. We also provided a checklist. So we created that, sent it out to all of our retailers, and on this checklist, it identified, you know, what topics we could chat and not chat about. It also listed, you know, our hours of operations and just some of those key things that we thought would be helpful in communicating that. Our priority, obviously, is to keep the interaction short and, you know, make sure we ensure that we're answering all the questions and also trying to anticipate those that maybe were not actually asked in the actual chat. Training. We identified the group that would support the tool, so we began, you know, developing our training strategy. So we really spent a lot of time establishing our guidelines, our process flow, our escalation paths, and even steps to resolve technical issues. Our training was structured to ensure the agents not only knew how to process the chats, but really understand, you know, the retailers' and customers' experience as well. So our first step in the training process was to provide an overview of the program, kind of the benefits to the customers, and our operational approach. And then the second piece was to review the guidelines. This provided, you know, agents with an understanding of the flow of the chat, including expectations around etiquette and protocol. We knew the chats were shorter conversations, and so they would be different than maybe an email response or a live call. But we wanted the agents to be friendly, conversational, but also professional. And so we provided guidelines around that, and also the QA expectations. QA, our quality expectations, were actually the same as an email or a call, but we wanted to ensure that agents knew that the chatting was, you know, a little bit different and a little bit more casual, so we understood that. And one of the most effective approaches throughout the training was to provide the agents time to practice simulating a chat session. So we did a lot of role playing where the, you know, one agent was the customer and the other was the the rep, and they could go back and forth and actually practice chats, actually practice using some of the standard responses that we had created and choosing those from the drop-down. They all mentioned that that was really the best part of training, that they really enjoyed that piece. Operationally, Right Now provides a real robust monitoring and reporting tool. There's real-time dashboard reports that provide supervisors and others insights, into what is occurring. They can look at that live, the number of chats answered, agents available, chats in queue, etc. And then there's a variety of reports, daily, weekly, and monthly reports that are produced. Our key metrics, we are now averaging, since we added the chat to our Ask Oncor webpage, we're now averaging about 600 combined chats per month, and it's increasing monthly. We have a 10-second speed of answer and a little under 10 minutes rather, a 600-second average handle time. And this does include the total of chats from start to end, which allows time for the agents to, work on another chat or e-business and offline work while waiting for the customer to respond. And this is especially true of retailers, because many of the times retailers actually have the customers on the line, so they have them on hold, they're chatting with us and actually going back and forth till they can resolve the issue. Our quality, as I mentioned, was, we wanted to, of course, keep it the same across all of our channels and be consistent. Our quality is an outcome-based focus, so we don't have it doesn't focus on a % score correct, but rather on, where do you need improvement, are you meeting expectations, or obviously exceeding expectations, so we can provide that feedback to our agents. And with chats, again, we do focus on being concise, but also ensuring that we're answering all of their questions, similar to a first call resolution. So what were the results? We have gotten tremendous positive feedback from our customers. We also have a post-chat survey that we created. Initially, it had 4 questions. Now we're down to 3. It only takes a couple minutes to complete, and we also see a pretty high percentage of takers on the survey, and especially with our retail providers, because those folks are really repeat users for the chat tool, and we're still seeing a pretty high amount of responses. So it's good to know that our retailers are letting us know how they are enjoying the chat, and they also let us know what we could do better. And so the verbatim comments we use for continuous improvement. We've been able to implement changes as a result, and then we also will reach out to folks that leave, a negative comment, so we can ensure that we can resolve that. And the positive comments serve as a great motivator to our agents that support the tool, so that we provide that feedback, back to them, and they really enjoy that. We have had a few very dissatisfied chatters, but I will say this, on the retail side of the business, every one of those chatters is still chatting with us today. And generally, they're dissatisfied because of a question, that maybe we just didn't have the answer to, not so much that the agent, wasn't able to help them. We have had a couple of dissatisfied chats on our Ask Oncor page, and both of them have been around results of e-tours for outages. So we weren't able to provide them with an estimated time of restoration, and it was simply because it wasn't available to us. But that's what's caused or resulted in the 2 very dissatisfied chat survey responses that we've received. We wanted to share just a few of our aha moments with you. We did learn to turn cookies on, because then it allows the user, the information is retained on their first session that they have to fill out to ask the question. When to close the chat session. Initially we were just leaving it open, thinking that the retailer or the customer would close it, and sometimes the agent didn't notice, oh, they've already disconnected. So we've really gone back and kind of instructed them to really watch that and watch that time at the end of the chat, or when you think that the customer may be finished, and maybe go back. We've got a standard response for that, you know, are you still there? Do you have any other questions for me today? And then if they don't hear back, you know, I'm going to, you know, release the chat, and they'll let them know that. And then also communicating the benefits of multitasking. So in other words, the chats aren't necessarily quicker, as we've found. They're about double a phone call. Our phone calls are averaging around 3 minutes, and chats a little bit under 6. But of the surveys that we've received from end-use customers, we've actually never received a complaint about the chat taking too long. We did put together kind of just the 10 tips for a successful chat program, and you can read through those. But number one, we thought, was really identifying and determining your audience. And, you know, again, we had the luxury, we had the ability to talk to our retailers and engage that there was an interest. We didn't have that, obviously, with our end-use customers, but because our retail business-to-business chat model was so popular, we just felt like it would be popular with our end-use customers, and so far it has been. And we feel like the communication strategy was really important, key to our success. And then also outlining those escalation and non-standard questions processes. Some of ours, you know, involve market rules and not being, you know, not circumventing our market process. So we had to make sure that that was clear and didn't come across as just we weren't willing to help. And then number 10, I think, is really important to consider, is how many chats, you know, can be handled concurrently. There are some that feel like you can handle up to 5, but again, I think it depends on your business and what type of questions you're receiving. But, you know, ours was, you know, be realistic. It's important to consider your customer and what type of time frame that they need in terms of response time, because obviously the more chatters or concurrent chats that an agent is working, the longer time that's going to be for a customer to be on hold as well. With this slide, I just want to share that we've, you know, as I mentioned, we launched our chat to the end-use customers on our Ask Oncor webpage in November of 15, and then on our mobile site, we launched it on February of 16. What we had on our webpage is you could report an outage, you could call, or you could email a question. However, with the email a question, the response times were averaging around 48 hours. So, you know, of course, somebody asking a question then receives a confirmation, we've received your question, however, you'll be responded to within 48 hours doesn't always set well with a customer. They want their question answered quicker than that. So chat allows us to provide that real-time answers to the customers. Again, you know, our strategy being to meet the customers where they want to be. We're continuing to evaluate this, and there are some use for other groups as well. For example, we have an energy efficiency web page that the customers have an ability to ask a question as well. So we're looking at adding a chat button there, as well as our Ask Oncor main page, or excuse me, not Ask Oncor, but our Oncor.com main page. Our Ask Oncor web page was actually developed a while back when we were implementing our customer experience strategy, when we were doing an outreach with all of our customers, basically saying, if you got a question, ask Oncor. So we put up that page. We have a lot of FAQs on that page, and of course that's where we thought we would start with our chat feature. So what does that mean for our multi-channel wheel, and what's next? Some of the things we're looking at, of course, we want, as I mentioned, we want to add chat to our Oncor.com, so it'll be accessible to that main page for anybody going to our website. And then we are looking at some proactive outbound messaging as well to help potentially reduce call volume. And we would basically be using that during our storms to let customers know that we're actually aware that you have an outage. But our goal, again, is to offer that multiple outage reporting channels. We also have a new preference tool now that customers can sign up for, and during an outage, they can receive updates and closer messages for that outage. And now they have their preference. They can receive those messages either via text, a phone call, or an email, or actually all three if they prefer. So we had a demo here. Of course, we can't live demo a chat, so this is actually just a screenshot. But what I'd like to welcome y'all to do, if you would like, is just to go. You can either do it on your phone or on the web. Go to Oncor.com, and you can Google it right from your smartphone, and it'll bring up a web-friendly version of our web page, and you'll see the tab that says Ask a Question. And when you press on that, you'll have that option to either email, call, or ask a question, and you're more than welcome to just test it out, chat with one of our agents, tell them that you've just landed on our page and you were just wondering how it works, and to get the experience. And so with that is the end of my presentation, and thank you all for the opportunity to be able to share this information. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to help you, and if I'm not able to answer them, since I kind of came into this sort of at the last minute, I'll be more than happy to gather information and get it back to you.
Well, great presentation, Cindy and Vicki. It's very informational, and I'm sure the attendees greatly appreciate this information. We've had a number of questions come in, but there were two that I would like to pose to each of you at the same time, because I believe each of you may have answered this question separately in your presentation, but I think it's important to hear them at this time together. The one question would be the average handle time for a call compared to a chat. Cindy, would you like to speak to that one first?
Certainly. The average handle time for a call here at Vectren is in the 5-minute range, and we're finding that our web chat is averaging close to 10. It's like 9 minutes and 25 seconds. But they are handling 2 chats at the same time, so we're kind of offsetting the average handle time by handling 2 chats versus 1 phone call. So we're considering that a wash.
Very good. Vicki?
Yes, our calls average around 3 minutes, and our chats are just a little bit under 6. And I mentioned that, our market is unique here in Texas, our deregulated market. Our calls are not that long. We don't take a new service or disconnect service or credit and collection type calls. So again, our calls average around 3. We have a lot of our bulk is outage calls, obviously, and service requests. I do find it interesting, even though our chats are averaging a little under 6 minutes, we have never had a complaint in our survey, data that anyone's ever complained that it took too long. And I know I've chatted myself, and it just seems like you expect a chat to run a little bit longer. But our agents also do multitask as well, so they're able to work on the emails and faxes and different pieces of work that come in besides the 2 simultaneous chats as well that they're handling.
Okay, great. The next question would be, I'm going to combine this question as well, but it's to note the effect in call volume and your email because of the use of chat. Cindy, you can take that one first?
Certainly. It's really difficult to gauge whether or not we've seen a decrease in call volume, because in the utility business, when we have outages and different events that cause our volume to go up and down throughout the year, it's difficult to say that our call volume actually decreased. We really didn't have that expectation going into this. We were looking at more of a different channel for our customer to contact us through. Chat represents about 2% of our total inquiries coming into the contact center. So we really, I can't say that we've seen a decrease based on just implementing chat. Emails, emails remained pretty stable as well. and email runs in the about 4.5% total inquiries. Hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, and Vicki?
We too kind of initially expected, you know, a decrease in call volume, but we did not see that either. Of course, same with our business, it's so driven by, you know, weather-related events, and so it's hard to know. I will say this on our online, since we always had that option to ask a question, an email question, and of course they would get the automatic response that you should receive a reply within 48 hours. You know, we've seen a bit of a switch, you know, move over to the chat because obviously they can get a real-time response. And then we've also kind of found interesting is our, since we do obviously have a high call volume during outage events, we've noticed that our chats really go up during that time, that folks are wanting to chat about their outage. We've kind of had to watch that closely because we also have a process in place that if it gets too high and we can't handle the chats, then we're able to shut that down and just let, you know, folks know that the chatting at this moment, you know, at this time is not available, obviously because we couldn't handle the volume. So it's been interesting to see that once the storm hits, folks are moving over to the chat feature.
Very good. Well, attendees, I did want to also let you know that these questions, we have quite a few of them coming in, so if yours is not addressed today during this session, we will provide those to the speakers and have follow-up with you directly. So with that, I'm going to move to the next one, and I'll pose this one both to you both as well. Does the written word concern you with chat? Cindy?
Sure, I'll go first. Honestly, I was probably the most skeptical person in our company as far as wanting to implement chat. At the time, I managed the quality assurance department within our contact center, and of course that really scared me because you didn't really know what was going to happen in a live chat. That's a live situation, but you know, if you think about it, it's really not a lot different than a call. The chat is all recorded in the system. We also do a quality assurance process on the chat. So it really is no different than a phone call, and it has turned out wonderful for us. Our customers just love it, and we have not had any issues with quality since we implemented in 2013.
Pretty much the same here at Oncor. 100% of our calls are recorded. I mentioned, you know, that transparency was one of our core values and our desire to be that trusted advisor. Transcripts are available, so I mean, we'll provide those upon request. We already do, of course, respond to email, so that's, you know, in writing. And we also use our higher skilled agents to handle the chat. So, you know, we hope that they're use, you know, a lot of their good judgment and really think before you speak, but now it's think before you write. So it hasn't been an issue for us at all.
Okay, wonderful. The next question that I have is for, and I'll pose it to you both as well. How do you manage an escalation on chat? And Vicki, I'll let you go this time first. Okay.
Well, in the tool, the Right Now tool that we manage our chats out, as a chat comes in, it comes in as what's called an incident in that tool. And through that, and that's how our emails come in as well, or faxes or any pieces of work come in through that tool and create what's called an incident. So we're able to just take that chat and we're able to redirect it to another group. And so that's how we manage our escalations. We'll let the customer know that, you know, we're not able to maybe to help them, or we're needing to get some other information from another group, you know, and we'll escalate that via that tool to that group so that they can then respond and get back with the customer.
Okay.
Our escalation process is pretty similar to Vicki's. If a customer wants to escalate, we have team leads on the floor that are able to, we can transfer that chat to a team leader, to a supervisor, to handle that escalated situation. And if we find that it is a more difficult situation, then you can discuss in a chat, we will often call the customer as well.
Okay, wonderful. How long do you give a customer to respond before you end the chat? Cindy?
That's a good question. We do have, we want to be careful that we don't end a chat prematurely because sometimes customers are multitasking. So we will ask the customer, you know, if they're still on the line, are they still chatting? And we'll do that a couple of times before we disconnect the chat. I think typically it runs in about a 1-minute range.
Okay,
That's pretty much true with us as well. We were trying to, you know, kind of put a time on it because the agents were even asking, oh, should I wait 1 minute? Should I wait 2 minutes? But what we do the same. We ask them, you know, can we answer any other questions? Is there anything else I can do for you today? Try to, you know, pose it there that, are you still there? And, you know, we'll even say, you know, if we don't hear a response, you know, I'll be ending the chat. So that kind of give them that one last opportunity. But it's worked really well. But it probably averages, I would guess, maybe around a minute by the time you're kind of back and forth asking them if they're still there.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. The next question that we have is asking about expense to implement chat. Was it a costly feature for your company, or were there savings that offset that expense? And Vicki, I'll go to this one first. Oh, Cindy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. There is an expense to implement chat. Ours was very minimal. We found a software company out there that had a pretty much off-the-shelf product. It was very minimal expense, and honestly, it was one of the easiest contact center technology implementation projects that I've ever participated on. So it was not cost prohibitive. We did not see any savings, again, because we didn't really see any offset in phone calls or emails, but we really chose this to be another channel for our customers. So we were really looking at it more as a customer experience.
I think I would just echo what Cindy said, and as I mentioned, I think earlier, the Right Now tool that we went with the chat is also the email management tool that we've been actually using for years. So it was really just an add-on to that tool. So cost was minimal. Training, you know, I think went really well. The agents were used to the tool. So with that regard, it was, you know, pretty easy transition or process for us to implement it. Savings, you know, I don't really know if we've incurred any cost savings, but again, it's more about the customer experience and offering them options.
Okay. Well, so you mentioned training for your agents, Vicki, that it was, you know, saying email tool, so that seemed like pretty seamless. Cindy, can you answer that, address that question? Was there special training needed at your utility?
Certainly. We chose to hire agents that were already in our contact center. Our agents look at this as sort of a promotional opportunity for them. So we did do some special testing with the agents. We performed a typing test. We did some chat simulation with them to see if they were able to multitask and what their writing and grammar skills look like. So the training that was involved, since they were already familiar with our CIS system and everything else within our company, was really just learning the e-chat process and how to respond and, you know, put templates into your responses and that sort of thing. So the training was very minimal. It's mostly on the floor training with an experienced agent. We don't have them participate in any special training in a classroom.
Okay, good deal. The next question that we have is in reference to have you looked into chatbots or artificial intelligence software to lower any operational costs? Vicki, would you like to answer that one first?
Yes, because that'll be short. We have not.
What about you?
My answer will be really short, too. That's an interesting question. We have not done that. We just put in a natural voice IVR, so maybe that's something that we would look at in the future, but right now we're really trying to customize everything to be very customer friendly and to boost, our customer experience.
Okay. I think we probably have time for perhaps one more question. Let's see. I have one here that says, how do you measure quality on a chat interaction? Cindy, would you like to take that one first?
Certainly. We looked at a chat interaction just the same way that we look at a phone conversation. So we use the same template to measure quality on a chat. We'll look for policy and procedure if they're following the policy and procedure. Are they resolving the inquiry the first time around? Are they being friendly, pleasant? The one thing that is a little bit different is we're looking for grammar skills and writing, making sure words are spelled correctly. But other than that, we look at it just the same as any other type of interaction, a call or correspondence or e-service coming into our center.
Same here. Yes, same here. We, of course, want to ensure that across any channel that our quality is measured the same. However, obviously in an email and in a chat, we are looking at grammar and things like that and make, not so focused on, did they put a period or a comma here, but, was it a clear, concise response? But we're not a score. We don't focus on like a percentage of a score. Ours is more about, did you meet expectations? Did you exceed them? Was there some needed improvement? And that's how we approach the quality on the chats as well.
All right, that sounds good. Well, I'm just noting the time, and we're getting very close to the top of the hour, and I want to be respectful of your time, your schedules, and that of the attendees. So I did want to just, again, say to the attendees that if you had any questions that weren't answered or if you think of follow-up questions, please send them to Denise Mullendor at the CS Week office, and she'll forward them to the speakers, Cindy and Vicki. And then also to remind everyone that our call for presentations is open, and it runs through August 8th, so we encourage you to submit your abstracts for the next content for the next conference. Deadline is August 8th. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to Cindy and Vicki and all the attendees for joining us today, and this will conclude our session.